It's almost 20 years since the first Audi Avant appeared, a five-door version of the 100 and 200 models that somehow managed to avoid the tacked-on estate car back end of an existing saloon. And that's a tradition that's been maintained up to the present day. The Avant is still an integrated styling approach, a model in its own right. Now this is the latest in the line. The A6 Avant goes on sale this spring. The old model was a real load carrier. It had a long rear overhang behind the rear wheels, a lot of space. This car is in fact no longer than the saloon version, but there's still an awful lot of space. It's exceptionally well trimmed. It's hardly the car for a Welsh sheep farmer, far too svelte for that. You get a load cover to keep your valuables away from prying eyes, and these excellent load nets that make sure that loose items in the back don't catch you in the back of the neck in an emergency. And it's fitted with roof rails for the mountain bikes, the windsurfers and the hang gliders, the sort of thing that Audi would have you associate with the image of this car. Inside, beautifully trimmed as you'd expect for a car in the executive class. Airbags poised to explode at you from every side. There's one in each door as well as the passenger and driver's side. Interestingly, only one cup holder. What's the driver supposed to do if his passenger's drinking a Coke? Climate control as standard. You can adjust the temperature for both passenger and driver's side, and all the executive toys you'd expect, which multiply as you go up the price range from £24,000 to £31,000. No surprises in the Audi on the move. We've come to expect easy to drive, smooth and relatively quiet cars. The Avant is no exception, although a bit more perhaps tyre noise than you'd get in the saloon, and that's due to these cavernous spaces behind the driver. Driver position is very good. You can adjust the steering wheel. There's electric control of seat height as standard and not an extra, and the seats, to use the dreadful old cliche, supportive. Sophisticated in-car entertainment as standard, but I'm very disappointed to find that there's no controls for the radio up here on the steering wheel. My pet fear is always looking down to fumble with the radio and look up just in time to have ERF engraved on your forehead. Nicely laid out instrument panel and great big dials for speedo and rev counter. That's useful as the driving population gets over the age of 50 and their close-up eyesight starts to fail. Germans have always gone for uniformly black interiors, and research said it made people feel depressed after a while. They're starting to change a bit, little elements of grey here and there, and the roof lining is light grey, but there's an awful lot of black still in here. An excellent feature is the oddment stowage in the bottom of the door panel here with these locking lids. Excellent idea, lots of capacity, and it means things don't fall about when you've put them in there. Road surfaces around here in deepest Surrey, not particularly good. Obviously the county council is short of road repair budget, and the Audi does tend to pitch around a bit on the bumps and thumps. It'll be interesting to see what it's like with the full permitted load in the back. The ride is good, but personally not as good as for instance the 5 Series Touring, which is the obvious competitor. And not content with simple old anti-lock brakes, this car also gets electronic brake force distribution and electronic differential lock and anti-skid regulator traction control. In other words, Audi are determined you're not going to play the lunatic in their car. The Avant gets the same complicated spread of engines that Audi insist on offering. The 1.8 turbo, the 2.4 V6, a 2.8 V6, and later on a 2.7 twin turbocharger high-performance version. In addition, there's 2 diesel engines. It must be the part manager's nightmare. And you can have front-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, 5-speed manual, 6-speed manual, or a 5-speed automatic. Pays your money, takes your choice. It's an indication of Audi's attention to detail that the stylists were not happy with the saloon car's windscreen and A pillars. They didn't quite blend with the shape of the Avant. So at enormous cost on the production line, this car has different, more steeply raked pillars and a completely different windscreen. Audi have been looking for a more dynamic image for a younger customer base over the last 5 years, and the plan seems to be working. As one manager said to me not so long ago, it's been like launching a new franchise.